Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Saraya speaking test and I'm your examiner for today. My name is Erica Wilson. May I know your full name?
My name is Sharon Chaji Philip.
How may I address you?
You can call me Sharon.
Okay, Sharon. So, are you working or studying?
Well, I'm studying at the moment. I'm studying Bachelor's of Nursing. I've finished my second year, so I've got one more year to go before I complete my course. But I'm also doing a part-time work along with it.
Okay, so what do you like the most about your studies?
The fact that you get to know a lot about your human body, its functioning, its integrity, and also how certain medicines reacts with your body. So I think it's really fascinating to know about.
So, what do you hope to do in the future when you finish your studies?
When I complete my studies, I would like to apply for a PR and then for a work visa and hopefully work there in Australia as a registered nurse.
Okay, so what's your part-time job?
Well, I am doing an after-school care, so that means working with children. So they come to our organization after their school. That's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you get to work with them for like 3.5, 4 hours. But it's really fun. It's just games, arts and craft, and other activities for kids.
Okay, how does it help you?
Well, being a university student, it has definitely helped me a lot financially. I've been able to afford my rent and also my living expenses too. Besides that, it has helped me a lot with my academics as well.
So now let's speak about your hobbies and free time. What do you like doing in your free time?
Lately, I've been really keen on painting and drawing. So I've been doing a lot of fabric painting and also some glass paintings too. So that's what my hobby is.
Do you prefer to go out or stay at home in the evenings?
Well, I think it depends on my mood. Sometimes I would just like to go out and hang out with my friends, or else I would like to stay at home and then just maybe watch Netflix and just chill.
Okay. How do you usually spend your weekends?
Sometimes I would like to go outside with my family, then maybe do some shopping for dresses or groceries. And sometimes we go to the cinema and watch a movie there.
Okay, so what type of films do you like?
Well, I do like family entertainment movies. I don't prefer movies that has a lot of violence in it. But then just normal family entertainments, which includes action and thriller movies, adventurous movies. I love watching that.
Do you play any musical instruments?
Not lately, but then I did learn piano for 2 years, but that was during my first and second grade, so I guess I've lost touch with it now.
Now let's move to part 2 of your speaking session, where you have to answer a given topic you got. You have got 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak about the given topic. So here is your question.
Thank you.
And you are provided with a paper and a pencil to prepare your answer. Your time starts now. You may start speaking.
Well, beyond doubt, I would say that the historical event that I would like to know about is about the Second World War that happened in the 20th century. To be precise, from 1939 to 1945. I would definitely like to know more about it because the knowledge that I have at the moment is really superficial, and all that I knew about it was back when I studied in my 9th and 10th grade during my high school. I just studied a few things about historical events and a little bit about Second World War for my exams. So I just mucked up something by hearted the information, the names and dates and everything, and then just vomited that on my exam sheet. But after that, I changed my subject. I took a science field in my when I went to my +1 grade. So I lost all touch with history. But lately, a specific event took place that really intrigued me to learn more about the Second World War and that time period. That was when I was flying from Australia to India. That just happened a month ago. The co-passenger sitting next to me, he was a really friendly person. He helped me put my hand carry bag in the airplane cabinet. So he was just a very talkative person. He was just talking all the time. But later I realized that he was a history enthusiast and he knew a lot about the Second World War. And he even reckoned that one needs to know much about it, like at least the significant events that took place during that time, in order to know about what happened in our history. So listening to what he said, like how Germany was impoverished during that time and how Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany and what led to the Union of United Nations, I was really fascinated to know about it, but also at the same time had a mixture of emotions. I also felt really small in front of him regarding the amount of knowledge that I had, because it was just very rudimentary. So I just made up my mind in that flight that I had to go back home and then look it up on the internet. And that's what I did. I went back home and then looked it up on the net for pieces of information. And also when it comes to modus operandi, you can look up peer-reviewed articles on the internet, and also Wikipedia, and authentic textbooks. You can also go to the library and read up historical books. And you can also contact your professors or lecturers who are history buffs to know what happened during that time frame. But definitely it's really important for us to know what events took place during the Second World War, because the whole world was involved in that event during that time.
Your time is up. Now let's move to part 3 of your speaking session, where you have to answer the follow-up questions based on the given topic cue card. So, many children tend to get bored with history because of all these dates, time and names to remember. Do you agree with that?
Well, me as a student, I have always found it really a tedious task to memorize all these names and dates and places, and then vomit it on your question paper. And I also believe that many other children, and including my friends, have found it really exhausting and frustrating to memorize all of it. But on the other hand, there are a group of children who love to know much about history, because they are history buffs. They like to know more about it, so they might find ways to relate the names and the dates to things that they already know.
Some people tend to go against the idea of learning from past experiences. What about you?
Well, there's a saying that people who don't know about their past history, culture and their origins is just like a tree without its roots. So definitely you get to learn a lot from your past, and in fact you can learn from your past mistakes and help make your life in the future better.
Okay, so how can people get reliable historical information?
I certainly think that internet, within the touch of a button, you just get access to a lot of pieces of information regarding any topic for that matter. And also reading books in the library, it's a very good thing to do. And also you can read peer-reviewed articles because they are more accurate.
Okay, how do you think famous historical figures can serve as models for young people today?
Well, historical people, I feel that they are influences of the modern society, so they can influence people's minds with what they have done in the past, what they have achieved, as they can become a role model to people from what they have done, maybe the works they've created. Like, it can be artwork, it can be a song that they've written, it can also be books that they've written, so they can certainly influence people.
Okay. Do people in your country like to visit museums?
Well, it's hard to generalize because a lot of people today are distracted with the technology and the gadgets that they've got. So they would just sit at home and chill rather than to go to and visit the museums. But on the other hand, there are a group of people who are history buffs. They would love to know more about history. So they would certainly go and visit the museum.
Do you think museums should be free of cost to enter?
Well, me being a common citizen, I would say it would be nice if I could enter into a museum without giving any entry fee. But then at the same time, legally speaking, government can actually tap in and support the museums a little bit. A minimal entry fee can be kept, but then the government can support a little bit because the government definitely receives our money as a tax.
Okay. Do you think local people and tourists should pay the same amount to enter a museum?
Well, I certainly think that tourists should pay a little bit more than local people because we already know a little bit about our past, our culture and heritage, but tourists are coming from other places to know about these details about our past, and they get to learn a lot from it, so they have to give that expense worthy of what they have learned. But at the same time, also the thing is that governments can help the public sectors in the country with the money that they receive from tourists.
All right. One last question. How do you think the museums of the future might be different from the museums of today?
Well, nowadays, in the modern world, everything is being digitalized. So certainly I would say in the future too, the museums, it might be entirely digitalized, and maybe, who knows, you might also be able to book in and give your online entry fee as well. So I believe everything's going to be digitalized.
Okay. So here we come to the end of your speaking session. Thank you.
Thank you.